I never imagined that my life would take such a dramatic turn just as I was grappling with the loss of my beloved grandfather. His passing left a void in my heart, a void that seemed to expand with each passing day. My husband Alex had been my pillar through this tough time, but even he couldn't feel the emptiness that lingered within me. The day we moved into my grandfather's house was supposed to be a new beginning. The old creaky house filled with a lifetime of memories was now mine. As I wandered through the familiar rooms, each corner whispered tales of my childhood, of days spent in my grandfather's loving company. But the nostalgia was short-lived. Alex's sister Clara, a 21-year-old college student, was always a bit of a mystery to me. Her vibrant lifestyle and her expensive tastes were topics Alex often avoided. I knew they were close, but I never realized the extent of it until that day. "We're here," Alex announced cheerfully as he walked in. Clara was right behind him, her presence as striking as always. She carried herself with an air of confidence that bordered on arrogance. Anna, surprise. "Clara will be staying with us from now on," Alex said, a smile plastered on his face, oblivious to my shock. "Staying with us, Alex? What do you mean?" "We never discussed this," I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. Alex shrugged, his casual demeanor fueling my frustration. "The house is big enough, and it's perfect timing. She needs a place to stay while attending college. It's family, Anna." "Family," he emphasized. The word echoed in my mind. I had always believed that family meant caring, understanding, and most importantly, respect. This felt like a betrayal, a decision made without my consent. Clara smiled, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Thanks, sis. I knew you'd understand. Family should stick together, right?" Her words stung. They weren't the words of a grateful sister-in-law. They were the words of someone who had already claimed victory, someone who knew they had the upper hand. I wanted to protest, to tell them that this was not their decision to make, that this was my grandfather's house, a place of cherished memories, not a boarding house at the whims of my husband's sister. But I remained silent. The grief of my grandfather's passing still weighed heavily on me, and I didn't have the strength to argue. I simply nodded, a hollow gesture of acceptance. As Clara pranced around the house, claiming her space, I felt a growing sense of unease. This was not the fresh start I had envisioned. This was the beginning of an unwelcome intrusion that threatened to disrupt the fragile peace I was desperately clinging to. Little did I know this was just the tip of the iceberg. The real storm was yet to come. Life in the house took a sharp turn with Clara's arrival. Her presence was like a storm, disrupting the quiet sanctity of my grandfather's home. She paraded around the house as if she owned it, her laughter echoing off the walls, a constant reminder of the unwelcome change in my once peaceful sanctuary. It was a Thursday evening, the kind of evening I used to spend curled up with a book in the living room, but now the room was Clara's stage. She was sprawled on the sofa, her expensive handbag carelessly thrown on the table, and her eyes glued to her phone. "Anna, could you make us some tea? I'm exhausted from college work," Clara said without looking up from her phone. Her tone wasn't of a request. It was a demand, a command that expected compliance. I paused, the request irking me. This wasn't the first time Clara had treated me more like a housekeeper than a sister-in-law. "Sure, Clara, I'll make some tea," I said as I busied myself in the kitchen. I could hear Clara chatting away on a video call, her voice dripping with false sweetness that she never showed me. "Oh, Alex, he's so caring, always looking out for me. I'm so lucky you have a brother like him," she cooed into the phone. I clenched my fists, the sound of her voice grating against my nerves. It wasn't just her taking advantage of Alex's kindness that bothered me. It was her complete disregard for me, for the home that held so much sentimental value. Later that night, Alex and I lay in bed, the silence between us a stark contrast to the chaos that Clara had brought into our lives. "Alex, we need to talk about Clara," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. He turned to face me, his expression one of confusion. "What about her?" "She's just getting settled. Give her some time, Anna," Alex said. "Getting settled, Alex? She's taking over the house. She doesn't respect our space, our rules." "This is too much," I replied, my frustration bubbling to the surface. Alex sighed, running his hand through his hair. "She's young, Anna. She needs guidance, and who better than us? We're her family." "Family or not, there are boundaries, Alex. We can't let her walk all over us," I argued, hoping he would see reason. But Alex was unyielding. "She's my sister, Anna. I can't turn my back on her. You need to be more understanding." Understanding. The word hit me like a slap. How could he not see the disruption Clara was causing? How could he be so blind to her manipulative ways? I lay there, a sense of helplessness washing over me. It was clear that Alex wouldn't stand up to Clara, and I was left to fend for myself in a home that no longer felt like mine. The next morning, as I prepared for work, Clara sauntered into the kitchen, a smirk playing on her lips. "Anna, I'm having friends over tonight. Make sure to cook something nice, okay? We need to impress," she said. Her words were a clear challenge, a blatant display of her disregard for me. I met her gaze, my resolve heartening. "Clara, this is my house, not a hotel. You can't just invite people over without asking." Clara laughed, a cruel, mocking sound. "Oh, please. Alex won't mind, and you wouldn't want to disappoint your husband, would you?" Her words were a clear taunt, a jab at my relationship with Alex, but I stood my ground, the fire of defiance burning within me. "This isn't about Alex. This is about respect, something you clearly lack." Clara's smile faltered, her eyes narrowing. "We'll see about that, Anna. We'll see," she said as she walked away. I knew that this was far from over. Clara had declared war, and I was caught in the crossfire, in a battle that threatened to consume me. The tension in the house escalated to unbearable levels. Clara's audacity knew no bounds, and her latest stunt was the most outrageous yet. She had turned my home into her personal playground, hosting parties and gatherings as if she was the lady of the manor. It was a Saturday evening, one that began with the unexpected arrival of a group of Clara's friends. They entered the house with the familiarity of regulars, their laughter and chatter filling the once tranquil space. "Anna, darling, why don't you join us? It's a party," Clara exclaimed, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she handed me a glass of wine. I looked around at the unfamiliar faces invading my home, my hands trembling with suppressed anger. "Clara, this is not acceptable. You can't just bring people over without asking me." "This is still my house," I said, my voice firm. Her eyes narrowed and she leaned in close, her breath reeking of alcohol. "Your house." "Oh, darling, you really need to get with the program. This is our house now, and besides, Alex doesn't mind. Do you, Alex?" Alex, who had been watching silently from the sidelines, offered a weak smile. "Come on, Anna. It's just a small gathering. Let's not make a big deal out of it." A small gathering. The words echoed mockingly in my ears. I turned to face him, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Alex, this isn't just about tonight. It's about respect, boundaries. Clara is taking advantage of our kindness." Clara laughed, a cruel, dismissive sound. "Kindness, Anna? You really are amusing. You act like some martyr, but we all know you're just playing the victim here." I felt a surge of anger at her words, but I refused to give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose control. "Clara, enough. Your behavior is unacceptable, and it stops now." But Clara wasn't done yet. She stepped closer, her eyes gleaming with malice. "Oh, I'm just getting started, Anna. You think you can control me. You're nothing but a sad, lonely woman clinging to a house full of old memories. Get over yourself." Her words cut deep, but I refused to let them break me. I took a deep breath, my resolve hardening. "This is my home, Clara, and I will not let you destroy it." There was a moment of silence, a tense standoff between us. Clara's smile faltered, her confident facade cracking ever so slightly. "Fine. Have it your way, Anna. But remember, you're not the only one living here now. And as long as I'm here, you'll never have peace." With that, she turned on her heel and rejoined her friends, leaving me standing there, a mixture of anger and determination coursing through me. I knew then that this was more than just a battle over a house. It was a fight for my dignity, my self-respect. Clara had declared war, and I was ready to stand my ground, no matter the cost. The days following the party were a blur of tension and silent hostility. Clara's presence in the house was like a dark cloud looming over every moment, every interaction. But the breaking point came on a Tuesday evening, an evening that would change everything. I arrived home from work to find Clara in the living room, her laughter echoing through the house. She was on a call, her words laced with venom. "Can you believe Anna? She's so pathetic, acting like she owns the place. But don't worry, I've got it all under control." I froze, her words sending a chill down my spine. This was more than just petty sibling rivalry. This was calculated manipulation. I stepped into the room, my presence unnoticed. Clara continued, unaware of my eavesdropping. "Yeah, she's so easy to wind up. A few words here, a few actions there, and she's like a puppet on a string." I clenched my fists, the anger boiling inside me. This was not just disrespect. This was betrayal. As Clara ended her call, she finally noticed me. Her smile faltered, a flicker of panic crossing her face. "Anna, I didn't see you there. How long have you been standing there?" "Long enough," I replied, my voice cold and steady. "Long enough to hear your true feelings about me." Clara regained her composure, her smile returning, but it was a smile devoid of warmth. "Oh, Anna, you're taking it all wrong. It was just a joke, you know, between friends." "A joke?" I countered, my voice rising in anger. "Clara, you've been playing games since you arrived. You've turned my home into a circus, and now I find out you've been plotting against me all along." She shrugged, her arrogance unshaken. "Plotting, Anna? You're being dramatic. I'm just living my life, and you happen to be in it." I took a step closer, my resolve strengthening. "No, Clara, this ends now. I won't be manipulated or ridiculed in my own home. I want you out." Clara laughed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Oh, Anna, you really are amusing. You think you can kick me out. Alex would never allow it. And let's not forget this house is as much mine as it is yours." Her words were a blow, but I stood my ground. "This is my grandfather's house, Clara, my inheritance, and I will not let you ruin it." Clara's smile vanished, her true nature emerging. "Your inheritance? Please, you're nothing but a leech living off an old man's money. Without this house, you're nothing." I felt a surge of anger, but I refused to let it consume me. "Clara, you've crossed a line. This is not just about the house. It's about respect, something you clearly lack." Her eyes narrowed, her voice dripping with malice. "Respect from you? I don't need it. I have everything I need right here, and there's nothing you can do about it." But as Clara turned away, a smug smile on her face, I knew this was far from over. I had heard her true intentions, her malicious plans, and I was determined to fight back, to protect what was rightfully mine. The battle lines were drawn, and I was ready to face whatever came next. Clara had underestimated me, and she would soon learn that I was not one to be trifled with. The revelation of Clara's true nature was a bitter pill to swallow, but what followed was even more devastating. Alex's blind support for his sister became increasingly apparent, driving a wedge between us that seemed insurmountable. It was a rainy Wednesday evening when the final straw broke. I had come home late from work, tired and drenched, to find Clara and Alex in the kitchen, laughing and cooking together, a picture of familial bliss. "Anna, you're back." "Look, Clara's teaching me how to make her famous lasagna," Alex said, his voice filled with a warmth that had been missing in our interactions. I looked at Clara, who gave me a smug smile, as if flaunting her victory. "Yes, Anna, it's important to keep family bonds strong, don't you think?" she said, her words dripping with hypocrisy. "Family bonds? Is that what you call this, Clara?" Manipulating Alex against me, I exclaimed, my frustration reaching its peak. Clara interjected, her voice sickeningly sweet. "Anna, I think you're overreacting. We're just spending some quality time together. You're always so busy after all." I felt a pang of betrayal. Alex, who had once been my partner, my confidant, now stood there, a stranger, blinded by his sister's deceit. "Alex, you need to see what's happening here. Clara is using you, and you're letting her," I pleaded, hoping for a glimpse of understanding. But Alex shook his head, his patience wearing thin. "Enough, Anna. I'm tired of your accusations. Clara is my sister, and I won't turn my back on her." The room fell silent, the air heavy with unspoken words and broken trust. I looked at Alex, then at Clara, and realized the painful truth. I was alone in this battle. "I see," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I see where your loyalties lie, Alex." Without another word, I turned and walked away, the sound of their laughter echoing behind me like a cruel reminder of what I had lost. That night, as I lay in bed, the realization sunk in. My marriage was crumbling, and Clara was the architect of its destruction. But I was not going to be a passive victim in her twisted game. I made a decision, a vow to myself. I would fight back, not just for the house, but for my dignity, my self-respect. Clara had awakened a strength in me that I never knew I had. The battle was far from over, and I was ready to take a stand. Clara had underestimated me, and it was time to show her that I was not to be trifled with. The days that followed were a maelstrom of legal consultations and personal reckonings. The house, my grandfather's legacy, had become a battlefield, with Clara and Alex firmly entrenched on one side and me isolated on the other. It was during one particularly cold morning that the situation reached a boiling point. I had just finished a call with my lawyer, discussing the complexities of the inheritance and my rights, when Clara breezed into the room, her usual air of arrogance surrounding her. Anna still playing the poor little victim. "It's getting old, you know," Clara taunted, a smirk playing on her lips. I looked up, my resolve stronger than ever. "This is not a game, Clara. I'm fighting for what's rightfully mine." She laughed, a sound that grated on my nerves. "Rightfully yours. Please, you're just clinging to this old house because you have nothing else. But let me tell you, Anna, you're not going to win this." Her confidence was infuriating, but I refused to be intimidated. "I'm not interested in winning or losing, Clara. I'm interested in justice, and I will not let you and Alex take away what my grandfather left for me." Clara's expression darkened, her facade slipping for a moment. "Justice? You think you deserve anything? You're nothing but a leech living off the memory of a dead man." Her words were meant to wound, but I stood my ground. "I am fighting for my rights, Clara, and I won't be bullied or belittled by you," I declared, my voice unwavering. Alex, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. "Anna, why can't you just let it go? We're family. We should be sticking together, not tearing each other apart." "Family," I repeated, the word bitter in my mouth. "This is not how family treats each other, Alex. You've chosen Clara's side over mine, and now I'm left with no choice but to fight back." Clara interjected, her voice dripping with disdain. "Fight all you want, Anna, but in the end, you'll be left with nothing. You're alone in this." Her words echoed in the empty room, a stark reminder of the loneliness that had enveloped me. But I was not deterred. "Alone or not, I will stand my ground," I declared, my voice steady. "And I will see this through to the end." As I walked away, leaving Clara and Alex in stunned silence, I knew that the battle ahead would be challenging, but I was ready for it. I had to be for my grandfather, for the house, and for myself. The day of reckoning had finally arrived. Armed with legal advice and a newfound determination, I confronted them in the living room. "Clara, Alex, I've made my decision. I'm filing for a legal eviction. This house is my property, and I will not be forced out of it." Clara's smirk vanished, replaced by a look of incredulity. "Eviction? You wouldn't dare," she exclaimed, turning to Alex for support. But Alex, for once, seemed lost for words. The reality of the situation was finally dawning on him. "This is not just about the house anymore," I continued, my voice resolute. "It's about respect, and the complete lack of it from both of you. I've tolerated enough." Clara's composure crumbled, her voice rising in panic. "You can't do this to me, Anna. Where will I go?" Alex looked between us, the conflict evident on his face. "Anna, please, let's talk about this. We can find a solution." "The time for talking is over, Alex. You made your choice, and now I've made mine," I replied, the finality in my voice leaving no room for argument. The legal process was swift and unforgiving. Clara was forced to leave, her protests and pleas falling on deaf ears. Alex, caught in the crossfire of his own making, could only watch as his sister's world crumbled. But the victory was bittersweet. The house was mine again, but it was a hollow triumph. The walls echoed with the ghosts of a marriage that once promised a lifetime of companionship. In the aftermath, Clara's true nature became the talk of the town. Her reputation, built on lies and manipulation, unraveled, leaving her isolated and scorned. Karma had caught up with her, and the price was steep. As for me, I stood in the quiet house, a fortress reclaimed but scarred from battle. The memories of my grandfather, once a source of comfort, now served as a reminder of the strength that lay within me. I had fought for my dignity and won. The path ahead was uncertain, but I was no longer the woman who had allowed herself to be manipulated and disrespected. I was stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever the future held. The house, my grandfather's legacy, was once again a sanctuary, a place where I could heal and rebuild, and in its silent halls I found peace, a peace that had eluded me for so long.